After we played purple, I just canceled a date with a girl because I want to grind league. Did I do good? I think I did a good move, to be honest. Let me tell you guys a story. When I was 17, I went on my first date ever with a girl. I mean, it was like 17, but it was like I was literally a week from turning 18, right? And what happens is we go on a date, and the date goes well. I mean, the entire time I was just like trolling her, but she was like vibing with it. Like, I would tell her, for example, I want to like build a fucking like castle on an island and live there with like my army of like 40 fucking kids I'm gonna make, and they just like protect me and I'm like the king. And she was like, oh, that's cool, me too. So it was like, it was a good vibe, right? It was a good vibe. And then what happens is, she tells me, okay, well, whatever. The date goes well and all this shit, right? And then a few days later, she messages me, hey, do you want to do something on Valentine's Day? But the thing is, I was banned on Twitch for that week, and I was actually getting unbanned on Valentine's Day. So I told her, I'm like, look, I would, but but I promised my viewers that I would stream that day, so I can't, right? And at the time, I was literally 5 viewers. I said I would, but listen, I'm going to stream that day. And then she tells me, she's like, yeah, but it's Valentine's Day. And I was like, I know, but I'm streaming that day, you know? And then she's like, yeah, but you don't, like, it's Valentine's Day and I want to do something with you. Like, we can go to the mall, or we can, like, hang out, go shopping, like, do something fun, you know? And then I was sort of like, yeah, but I'm streaming, right? And that's that. So she doesn't press it, and then Valentine's Day comes around, and I send her a Snapchat of my face, and I say, live now, twitch.tv/Doaenel. So she doesn't say a fucking word, doesn't respond to the snap, didn't come to my stream either. And then after not communicating with her for a few days, right, what ends up happening is I DM her like 3 days later, and I'm like, yo, I don't have anything planned today, do you want to like hang out? I message her that at 8 a.m. in the morning. 8 a.m. I say, I don't have anything planned, so you want to hang out today? She gets back to me at 7 p.m. and she says, oh, didn't feel like doing anything today, sorry. And then that's when I realized, chat, I don't think she wants to talk to me anymore. So after that, I never messaged her again. But what if I said that unironically, chat? I'm extremely grateful that she never came to my stream and that we never ended up like dating or anything, and I'll tell you why. Because if I tell you that not having a girlfriend made it so I was able to literally just like stream all the time and I would never have any responsibilities, and it's like every decision that I made led me to where I am right now, and I'm very happy with it. Do you see what I mean? But okay, I'll tell you guys a funny story about the date though. At one point, I wanted to like do a test with her, right? To see like, oh, is this actually like a girl, or not really a test, but I just asked her like randomly, right? Because I lifted. At the time, I'd been lifting for like a year. So I say, yo, out of curiosity, what's your favorite muscle? Right? And then she looks at me, right? And she said cock. I'm not kidding. She said cock. And I said, oh, I was hoping you'd say chest. And then I just said nothing after that. You know what I mean? And it's because, dude, I don't know. Yeah. And then after that, that's when I realized, I'm like, yeah, you are not the vibe for, like, dating. So I was like, let's chill. You were asexual, bro? No, the thing about it is this. It's just that, the thing is, listen, it was almost like if she was willing to be sexual with me on the first interaction, then she was willing to do it with like literally any other guy, so you're not special at all. And it's like, why would you ever get like turned on if you're not special at all? You see what I mean? You just watch too much porn and it saps your job to chase women. No, it has nothing to do with watching porn that takes away my drive to chase women. It just has to do with the fact that chasing women literally amounts to nothing. Literally amounts to nothing. Best case scenario, you get a relationship out of it. Worst case scenario, you just waste time and you bust a nut or two. I mean, worst case scenario, you waste time and you don't bust a nut. You know what I mean? So it's like if you sit there and you just perma-focus on goals instead, right? And you sit there and you're just like always focused on your own grind, your own shit. There's literally no risk and it's only reward. And not only is it like reward in the current, but it's also like reward long term. Right? Like, the thing is, my brother he would sleep with a new girl every week. This isn't a joke. He would be on Tinder every day sleeping with a new girl every week, right? And genuinely, I could have done the same. But it's like, dude, if I had to message a girl, hey, how was your day? When it's like, I don't give a fuck how your day was. CBA, I would rather just play League. Do you see what I mean? Genuinely. It's like, I would rather just play fucking League. I just, like, never cared for just, like, random fucking whatever casual fling bullshit like that. And that's why I never bothered pursuing them. And that's what always allowed me to, like, stream for, like, 12 hours a day, just, like, perma-grind streaming, right? Because it's, like, I felt so much more satisfied with myself being able to, like, see growth in my stream and, like, have fun with what I'm doing than I was putting myself in a position where it's, like, I don't know. Sorry. Training your brain to avoid risks isn't helping you, though. Dude. Guys. It's like, this is the thing about it. At the end of the day, think about it logically. Most of the time, you're going to chase a girl for sex, right? Most of the time. Most of the time, most guys are going to chase a girl for sex. And what is the end result of sex? Oh, you bust a nut. Okay. I could masturbate, and I don't have to spend any money. I don't have to waste any time talking to anybody. And I can get it done in, like, what? 5 to 10 minutes instead of, like, spending hours. Do you see what I mean? So it's like, logically, why would I not just masturbate instead of having sex? Do you see what I mean? It's like, it just makes no sense. But the problem is, a lot of people, and I'll explain to you what it is. What if I tell you that all this shit comes down to fucking, like, social media? And it's like, you might think to yourself, huh? What do you mean? Let me explain. Because the thing is, if you're constantly comparing yourself to other people, right, and you're constantly comparing yourself to people who you think are better than you, then it's almost like you feel like you're in a position where you're forced to prove to yourself that you're good, right? And the way a lot of people get that validation is through other people. They'll say, oh, if a lot of women want me and a lot of women want to sleep with me, then that means that, oh shit, I'm like doing well and that I'm actually like doing good. But the thing about me is that I got that kind of validation from like, oh, if people are willing to watch me and people are willing to watch my stream. So it's like, I would get, unironically, I would feel that validation through my streams rather than through anything else, right? And that's one of the reasons why I would always stream, you know? Only date a girl that loves your stream as much as you do. I mean, there's like risks with that though. Because then it's like, okay, well, if they're only talking to you because they like your stream, did they even like you or do you see what I mean? So there's like risks. There's risks. A woman such... No, listen. Hold on. Let me pause the music. Let me give you an analogy. Let me give you an analogy for what sex versus masturbating is like. Imagine I know for a fact I'm going to be smurfing in Gold 4, and I know for a fact I'm a Masters player. And then I say, okay, I'm looking for a duo to make the smurfing easier. Okay? And you say, Doaenel, you could either have the Platinum 1 Yuumi main, or you could have the Masters Yuumi main. But if you want the Masters Yuumi main, you have to wait a really long time. And if you want the Gold 1 Yuumi main, you could have it right now. It's like, at the end of the day, do I give a fuck? Like, no, at the end of the day, it's just a Yuumi, right? It's just a Yuumi. So why would I not take the one that's right away? And it's the same thing with, like, sex versus masturbation. It's like, at the end of the day, even if it would feel better with the woman, right? It's like, why would you even care about that? Because it's like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, okay, it feels better, but then you're what? Rendering yourself a slave to your desires? Do you see what I mean? And that's the thing about me. It's like, one of the things that I've always liked doing is trying to like overcome my like circumstance and my sense of humanity, as weird as that might sound. Like, even from the time I was like 7, I would randomly just start spazzing out in the middle of like a park or like in public. And the reason why is because I would tell myself, God controls everything I do, so if I randomly decide to spaz out right now, it's like, it's unforeseen and I'm breaking free of my circumstance. I'm not even trolling. I thought of shit like that from the time I was literally like 6. Like, I would just sit there and then fucking just start going crazy, and everyone thought I was retarded, but it's like, I wasn't fucking retarded. It's just that for me personally, I was like overcoming destiny. Genuinely. It's like, I did that to overcome destiny, right? And the thing about it, right, is that it's like, I do the same now, but that's why one of the things that, and that's why I went down this like really bad rabbit hole where for a long time I actually starved myself, right? And again, no one ever do this. But one of the things that was like the problem with it is that I became obsessed with the thing of like I'm making my brain overpower my body and like my feelings, right? And now it's like I'm almost doing the same, but it's like I tell myself, okay, if I don't go on if I don't get relationships and I don't like go out with girls and I don't do these things, and instead I just sit here and I focus on the grind, it's like I'm overcoming that primitive aspect of my brain. Does that make sense? And it's like I'm turning myself into like a machine. Like, guys, this isn't a joke. I genuinely have not gone on a date or anything like that, or like kissed a girl in over, what, a year now? Genuinely, like, literally nothing. At one point, I was talking to this one, and it was like a while ago. And she was there, and she had actually like booked and everything, a flight. We had booked the hotel and everything, for like a week, and she was planning on like coming here for a week. And then a few days before, I was just like, look, listen, it's like I just realized that if you stay here for a week, I can't stream for that week. And I told him, like, look, I'm sorry, but it's just like I can't take that time off streaming. And then she just like canceled everything, right? But it's like genuinely, it's like I'm just way too focused on like my goals and everything to care at all about shit like that, you know? You're dumb as fuck, but see, the thing is, it's like, how am I dumb as fuck, right? At the end of the day, this is the way I see it. You guys want to know what the craziest thing about it is? That week, right? That week that I would have taken off streaming, what if I tell you guys, in that literal 1 week, I went from like 600 to 900 viewers average in 1 week. And it's like, imagine I would have sat there, and it's like I got so many more followers, that's like I was able to entertain people and shit, right? So it's like, that's what I'm telling you. It's at the point now where I'm just like so locked into streaming and shit that I genuinely don't want to do anything else. It's like, imagine you could, guys, hear me out. I'll give you the perfect analogy. Imagine you could go to the gym every single day, right? Every single day you could go to the gym and you could have a crazy fucking workout, right? You're gonna sit there, you're gonna go to the gym, you're gonna have a crazy fucking workout. And you know for a fact that every day that you're going to the gym, you are making visible progress. And it's like, it's crazy. It's crazy the shit you're going through, right? Like, you've been going to the gym for years, and it's like now you're making progress that you haven't seen in years. Like, the kind of progress that you've been dreaming of, right? Genuinely dreaming of, right? And then I want you to imagine someone comes up to you and they're like, imagine like a girl comes up to you and she's like, hey, instead of going to the gym, do you want to like go on a date? It's like, no. You know what I mean? It's like no, I don't. I want to fucking work out. You know what I mean? It's literally just like, no, right? And maybe one day when I feel like, okay, I've put enough work into my, like, enough effort into my work and shit like that, it might change. It sounds like you are not into her. Well, I mean, that's why I'm also kind of blessed. So in a way, and this isn't a joke when I say this, I'm kind of blessed because I've genuinely been like lied to and manipulated by over 90% of the girls I've ever talked to, right? And the good thing that actually did with me was it made me develop really, 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 really weird, like, not weird, but like really bad trust issues. So it's like mentally, I legitimately cannot attach. Because it's like the entire time I just think, oh, they're probably lying to me for entertainment. Do you see what I mean? So it's like that was kind of the hype thing. Like the silver lining about being lied to about everything all the time, or like most of the time, is that I genuinely can't like mentally attach to anyone, right? Despair? But what if I said it's like, you say despair, but I view it as like a good thing. Because I'm telling you guys, and this isn't a joke when I say this, what if I tell you that the majority of the time, no cancer, the thing that separates the people who get to the top of what they're trying to get to the top to, from the people who will sit there and will always hover around mediocrity, is how they manage relationships. That's not a joke. I can guarantee you that when it comes to like NFL players, when it comes to, I'll tell you guys a story. Let me put on some like low-key music right now. Chat, type 1 if you want to hear a fucking story. Like a story. A little story. I would always go to the gym, right? And my dad had this friend. My friend's name was Dan. Or his friend's name was Dan. This guy was 50 years old. Okay? really well-built guy, like solid guy, right? And one day he was talking to me and he was telling me this story because at the time, this was maybe about a year ago, and I was planning on like living in a house with a bunch of other like content creators and shit in the States. And he told me, he's like, listen to me right now. And he told me this story, chat, that I'm going to tell you right now. When Dan was in high school, he had this guy who he was friends with. And this guy was an insanely good football player. Insanely good football player. And at one point, this guy got contacted by, so he was really good in high school. And then when he went to college, he played college football, right? And this is in Canada. And he was genuinely so good that he got an offer from, the States. A team in the States said, yo, we want to like pick you up. We want to have you play for us, right? And the thing about him at the time was that he was dating a girl. And he knew that if it went long distance, there was a good chance that it wouldn't last. So he turned down the offer. He said, I would, but I'm dating this girl and I can't, right? 3 years later, that girl breaks up with him. 30 years later, that guy's working minimum wage retail jobs to make ends meet. Right? And so Dan tells me that story, and then he tells me, he's like, listen to me. At the end of the day, your grind and what you do comes before anything and everyone else. Genuinely, he said, do not get blindsided by like shit that's like meaningless at the end of the day, you know? And afterwards, I heard this like analogy, right? I heard this like analogy. Now I'll tell you guys the analogy. And the analogy was, your life is like, imagine you're a car on the highway, right? So you're driving down this highway. And what happens is, when you get in relationships or when you start interacting with people, making friends, it's almost like you're there and you allow people into your car, right? It's like you allow them into your car and then you keep driving down the highway. But you would never change the direction of the car, right? And if they're like, oh no, I want to go this place, I want to go that place, it's like, all right, leave then. Get in another car, get your own. But it's like you're not detouring your car for that. Do you see what I mean? And that's one of the things that like helped me a lot, right? Because like thinking in that way just always makes it so that you'll always sit there and you'll always like focus on your own goals and the things that actually like matter. I do bleed purple, but how did girls manipulate you? After all, they're just teenagers. You think? What if I tell you that as a streamer, a young male streamer, from the time I was 17, I've unironically been getting approached by women in their late 20s and early 30s. Not a joke. And when I talk to my friends, they all tell me the same shit. It's like he likes them age. No, it's like I talk to them for like a week and I never talk to them again. I don't like anything like that. Because the thing is, what's gonna happen is, think of it this way. That's disgusting. Yeah, because the thing about it, I'll explain it to you, is what's gonna happen is they're gonna be there, and this isn't a joke, right? A lot of the time, chat, like I'll talk to a girl and I'll say, so what do you do? And they say, oh, I sit home and I like play League. And I say, okay. Do you go to school? No. Do you plan on going to school? No. So what do you want to do with your life? Oh, I don't know, right? And it's like, the thing about it is that's why it's extremely hard for like me to enter relationships as well. Because it's almost like the way that you need to be careful is like, do they just view you as someone to latch onto that can support their lifestyle? Like type 1 if you understand what I mean. Like imagine there's a 30-year-old woman that has nothing going for her and she still lives at home with her parents, right? And she's there and she sees young Doaenel, 18 years old, really high energy, entertaining. He's getting 100 viewers, but he'll probably like get bigger in the future. And it's like she says, if I can start latching onto this guy right now, telling him everything he wants to hear, then since he's young and impressionable, I can manipulate his mind in a way where then afterwards he will always stay with me and he will be able to support my like my lifestyle, right? Hey, that's why, dude. Think about the shit that happened with Cat Evolved. How fucked up was that? Guy had a fucking like 29-year-old woman that's like she was with Yasuo and then she like latched onto him, right? Everyone was like kind of memeing it, myself included, but it's like looking back on it, it's not like fucked up, you know? What happened with Catavald? Yasuo's ex, who was like 29 years old, back when Catavald was like 18, left Yasuo for him to like latch onto him. Only one you watch that's still in a consistent relationship is Stevens, to be honest. And what if I tell you Retarzane? Back when Stevens was blowing up the first time, what happened with him is he would inhibit his growth because he would be dating this girl. So he would take days off streaming to date her and like do all this shit. And then eventually what happened is like it stunts your growth, right? It's like, are you trying to say we just shouldn't date women and focus on the grind? No, so this is the thing about it. You can view it like that, but it's more so in a way where you view dating as like something separate from everything else. So a lot of people, when they start dating a girl or when they start dating a guy, whatever, what'll happen is they'll sit there and they'll spend all day talking to this person. They'll talk to them till 6 a.m. They'll spend all their free time with this person. It's like, oh, it's like this person becomes the center of their life, right? But it's like instead, you should just view it as like oh, my league game's done. What do I want to do? Oh, maybe I'll just message my girlfriend for a few minutes while I'm in queue, you know? That's the thing about it. Listen, at the end of the day, it's like, don't be afraid to leave people undelivered for like 18 hours at a time. If you have better things to do those better things, right? Like, at the end of the day, talking to one person should never be like, oh yeah, that's what I always want to do with my time, right? You should have like goals and shit, you know? 18 hours? I mean, listen, I've gone through times where I'll genuinely leave people on, like I'll get a DM and I'll leave it undelivered for like 3 or 4 days. Because it's like, I wake up and I just want to work out and I CBA to like talk to anyone. And then I'll just want to stream, right? So it's like, I don't know. You will never find a true relationship with that mindset? Okay. Well, that's the thing you have to understand. What age did your parents meet each other at? What age did your grandparents meet each other at? What age did your friends' parents meet each other at? Most of the time, it's late 20s, early 30s. Most of the time. At least like modern day. So that's why it's like, why are you going to sit here and at 19 or at 20 or at 21 or at 22 make a relationship the fucking focus of your life when in reality you should have so many more things that you're focused on that a relationship should be the last thing. But Doaenel, I'm horny and I want to have sex. Cool. Fucking buy a fucking Lulu flashlight, dude. You know what I mean? Like in game. Who gives a fuck? I realize if you do things for a girl, go to the gym, eat healthy, you'll eventually stop doing these things when you eventually stop being infatuated with them. No, see, that's the thing, and that's why it's like, listen, it's almost like, how do I explain this to you? Maybe this chart would actually help you guys understand. So essentially what's going to happen is a lot of the time you're going to start talking to a person, right? And imagine this is like interest, and then this is the time. And interest over time, what's going to happen is they'll do something like this. Okay. Type 1 if something like this has happened to you, right? So interest over time will do something like this. And that's why what I do is even if I develop more interest in someone, I will always give them the same amount of little attention. So it's like, imagine my interest is like this, but it's like my effort in the fucking like interaction or relationship will always be like this. And this is no cancer. And the reason why is because not only does it set realistic expectations so that people don't get hung up on like what can be and like all this shit, but then what it also does is it makes it so that all this like time you could spend doing other things. Do you see what I mean? But it's like the problem with most people nowadays is that, and this is especially a problem like, I don't know, with like e-dating and shit too, right? Where what's going to happen is people will sit there and dude, it's like, holy fuck, listen, been there, done that, fucking won't do it again. And I have friends who do it. And with e-dating, it's like this. And this is like, I wish I was trolling. E-dating, unironically, is like this. After the first Discord call, both people are going to talk about marriage, kids, and a fucking house. And after the second Discord call, they'll have each other blocked on everything, saying they never want to talk to each other again. I'm not even trolling when I say that. That's like just how it is. I know people call you dumb for this stuff, but your view on relationships is what everyone who's like 19 to 20 should think. But that's what I'm trying to like explain to you. It's like, Because I remember, do you guys want to know a part of my life that really changed my view? I was 14 and I was talking to this girl I really liked. Like, I really, really, really liked her. And I would talk to her every day. And the thing about her is like super fucking needy. Would always have like these like mental things going on, like, oh, I don't think I'm good enough. Oh, I'm like anxious about this test, right? Like, just constantly in need of reassurance, constantly and all this shit, right? And at one point, I was talking to my dad about it. And my dad, guy when he was younger had a literal body count of like 300 to 400, like base, right? Never cared. Maybe dated 3 girls in his life, even though he slept with like 300 to 400. And I was talking to my dad about it, right? And my dad looks at me and he's like, Dantes. I was like, yeah. He's like, do you want to be her boyfriend or her therapist? And I said, boyfriend. And he's like, okay. So why the fuck are you talking with her about all this shit? And I was like, actually true. Because the thing is, a lot of people, it's like, sure, you can be for someone when they're in that place, but if they always have this expectation of like, oh, I'm always like, things are going bad, oh, this is always happening to me, oh, I'm always going through these like mental things, it's like, okay, then fucking work on that, and then when you're ready to find a relationship, you know what I mean? The problem is nowadays, like, and it's not in a mean way, right? It's just like, if you have that much emotional like baggage, bro, fix that before trying to get in a fucking relationship. Do you see what I mean? It's like it's not someone else's responsibility to fix you. And you know what the worst part about it too is? A lot of the time, chat, you're gonna sit there and you're gonna try to fix this person, and eventually, you wanna know what the craziest thing? I'll tell you guys the craziest thing that's gonna happen. You're gonna sit there, you're gonna do, and hear me out when I say this, you're gonna do everything to try and fix someone, right? Like, oh, I wanna fucking like fix this person, like, oh, I really like them and I just want them to like be better, okay? And what's actually gonna end up happening is you're gonna help them get to a position where they feel better, and then because every time they look at you, they're reminded of what they used to be, they end up breaking up with you. Or because they think, oh, I could have only gotten that person back when I was at this like emotionally damaged state, so now I'm better, let me find someone else, they're gonna break up with you. And genuinely, type 1 if you've ever seen that happen to you or like a friend or someone you know. Guys, it's legitimately true. And like, think of it this way. It's almost like, imagine I'm there and imagine okay, so let me give you a League of Legends analogy because like a lot of you might not understand this. It's like, imagine I'm there and the reason why I'm bad at League is like my CSing is really bad, right? My CSing is really bad. And I'm stuck in gold because my CSing is really bad. And then it's like, I start duoing with this gold player and they start always telling me like, okay, look, this is how you work on CSing, this is how you get better at it, right? And then it's like, imagine overcoming this mental block allows me to get diamond. And then it's almost like I look in disgust at that gold player, thinking to myself like, how could I have ever duoed with you? We are not on the same level. And you develop this like ego, right? And then it's like you say, I'm not doing with you anymore. Even though this person did everything they could to help you improve, it's almost like you look at them in disdain now. And that's what happens in a lot of relationships a lot of the time. At the end of the day, instead of sitting there thinking to yourself, oh, I can like fix this person, or oh, I can do that for them, or I can do this for them. It's like, dude, what you can do is instead of fucking focusing on that shit, focus on your own goals. Focus on your own grind. Do you see what I mean? That's the thing about it. It's like at the end of the day, instead of sitting there saying, I can fix this person, fuck that. Fix yourself, bro. You know what I mean? Make yourself better. It's almost like I would rather value putting time into myself and making myself better so that eventually when the right person comes along, I can give them the best version of myself than sitting there putting time in a bunch of different people who I mean nothing to and who mean nothing to me. And it's almost like I devalue myself in a way that makes it so that when I do find that one person, I can give them the most. Does that make sense? So it's like, it's not this thing where you're like, oh, dude, never get in relationships. No, it's about you choose your battles. Do you see what I mean? I ended up being her therapist 24/7, constantly reassuring her and trying to boost her confidence because of her mental issues. While I completely ignored taking care of myself, she ended up dumping me, learn from mistakes, I guess. Exactly. But the thing is, this is the thing about it. What if I tell you guys that as like a male and a female nowadays, but I'll say as a male because I am a man, you've been lied to. You've been lied to and you've been misled. You've been told, oh, all you need to do is give your everything to this person and they're going to appreciate it and they're going to love you, right? You've been told this from your parents, from your friends, from the books you read, from the TV shows you watch, from the movies you watch, from the Disney fairy tales, from all this time. It's like you're told, oh, listen, all you have to do is give your all to another person, and then you will both live happily ever after, right? What if I tell you it's like unironically, most of the time, doing the complete opposite of that actually like works better when it comes to relationships? No cancer. No cancer. It's like, let's say you have an option, right? Imagine you're talking to a girl, right? And imagine you have the option between either talking to her for 1 hour and then completely ignoring her for 11 hours, or talking to her for 12 hours. What if I tell you a lot of the time interest is going to be maintained when you give less of your time? And the reason why is because of the fucking graph I drew earlier. Interest over time. Because the thing is, what people are going to do in their heads, right, is a lot of the time people don't fall in love with you. They fall in love with the idea of you. So it's like, imagine I sit there and imagine you're talking to a girl, right? And she doesn't know anything about you. You're mysterious. You're someone to be like solved, right? Almost like a game in a way, okay? What happens is, because they're so focused on solving you, it's almost like that's what keeps them interested, right? Which is why it scales like this. Do you see what I mean? And then what's gonna happen is a lot of the time, it's like you're gonna let this person know about who you really are. You're gonna let them know, okay, this is how I really am. And by then, it's like there's no more fun. Because relationships, at the end of the day, in 99% of the cases, are a game. It's just something you do for fun, right? So it's like once the fun ends, what happens? The interest also ends. And it goes on the downward decline. Do you see what I mean? But that's why it's like, if the person never really figures you out, it's almost like the interest will never stop. Does that make sense? I remember watching this thing recently on a guy called Dean Martin. He was a singer in the 80s. In the 80s or 90s. I forget which. Or maybe even the 70s. Like singer, dancer, all this shit. And he was married to this woman for 20 years. And his wife was saying, his ex-wife was saying, in those 20 years, I never even knew Dean. Like, he was like a case I never even knew. And what if I told you he was the one who left her on top of it? It's like she never knew this guy she was married to for 20 years. And it's like he was the one who ended up leaving her. No cancer. And you guys want to know the other good thing? The best thing about never getting in, or not never getting in a relationship, but the best thing about not being in a relationship and also not developing emotional attachment to someone is the fact that it's impossible for a girl to give me cancer. And that's not a joke. Dude, and like it's not a joke. It's like it's impossible for me to be given cancer, and because of that, I'm just always in like a good mental mind state. Like, for example, I might say something on I don't know, it's like I might say something and then they might say, "Oh." And I'll say, "What's up?" And they'll say, "Nothing, it's fine." And I'll say, "Okay, cool, good night." You know what I mean? Dude, I'd say I'm not trolling. A lot of the time in the past, I've been in positions where it's like you allow people to get really close to you, and then it's almost like the amount that they're close to you makes it so that they can take away the happiness that they give to you. Does that make sense? It's almost like if you allow someone to give you happiness, then that person can also take it away. And then when they take it away, it puts you in a lower spot than you would have been otherwise. No good will come from a relationship before a certain age. I disagree. I think there is good that can come from it. But I feel like right now the good of the relationship is far outweighed by the good that the grind that I'm doing right now could result in.